So, to be honest, I would love to just writing this to me. I'd love to process with you, but I don't think I can afford it at this time. I'm wondering, do you ever have 20-minute conversations? Now, I want everyone to understand something. There is no such thing as a 20-minute conversation. Just to let you know, in my life the only places I have 20-minute conversations with is when I have to deal with some kind of technical issue that I'm on a phone of technical support. And even that is never 20 minutes. It was funny last week. My wife and I were having a quote on something that we needed done, and it was some stuff on our driveway, and that we want to have done for a project. And the gentleman that came up, we got talking, and what I do started coming out, and he happened to be a believer, and 2 hours. We were there for 2 hours. Now, no problem, but it's just how life is. When you start opening up the things of the heart, in fact, many of you go to a counselor and the counselor goes, "Time's up." And you're like, "Man, I just got started." I just started to open this thing up. And so I want people to understand that many people write to me, say, "Could I just have a quick call?" There is no quick call. There's no quick call. To hear a quick statement of deep emotional things that have happened in your life that you're working through. Just look at me when I answer questions, the amount of time, and it's a one-way conversation. You take all my Q&As and double them and then add 15 more minutes. And that's how long, at a minimum, it would take.
Right.
And that's moving quick. And the guy who's here 2 hours, I had to wrap it up.
He was so nice.
He was very, very nice. And we got to, he was a believer. We got to talk about the things of the Lord.
I know.
But I've learned in my journey, there is no, and that's why I take time out and carve time. And I think relationship wise, we should do that too. And you get together, realize, because we have this problem. We have get-togethers, or we get together with people. We had this problem for a while. Even when we were pastoring, we'd have people over, and they'd feel peace. They'd
You'd want to hang out with who?
And they didn't want to leave.
Hang out.
They didn't want to leave. Mm-hmm. I'd be like nodding out, like I gotta go to sleep. Mm-hmm. But anyways, not to be nitpicky, but I do get that question a lot, and I think I'll tell you my perspective. I do think that many people make financial limitations a big headline in their journey. I can't afford. I know what it's like to live in absolute poverty. I know what it's like to not have enough money to buy a coffee that I'm going to meet with somebody. Okay, so I know that. But for me, I just have a mindset of, I'm going to do whatever it takes, and I'm not saying you have to live my journey, but I'm going to do whatever it takes. But here's the thing that people will often do. And I see this psychological pattern happening a lot. People will say, I can't afford counseling, or can't afford coaching, I can't afford this. And so I will ask them, have you had access to my free materials? Because I have 800 to 900 videos that are absolutely free that I've spent, I can't even calculate it. For one video, I may spend 100 hours worth of work on just it depends. It's because it's like life. It's what I've learned. I've taken notes. Some of them have been marinating for a decade. Some of them, and they're out there free. I think what happens is we look at, when we're going through a season of financial struggle, we put a cap that goes, I can't do anything now. So I found it helpful to go, what can I do? What can I do? So for example, if you go to somebody's website and you love their materials, and you go, man, I would love a one-on-one with them. And you go, oh, they charge $1,000, and you go, I can't afford that. But look at what they do offer. Look at what they do have. Get every single free thing, or get their book, get what they have in other avenues, and devour them and take them in, because there's so many increments of materials you can get. There's online videos, which we have access to. When I was going through my battle, there was no YouTube. There was no going online and searching. If I searched my symptoms, I would get maybe, here's an anxiety clinic. That's about it. Back in the early days of the Google. But But nowadays we have so much. You can look, people search their symptoms and they find my podcasts. It's like, that's awesome. That's great that you stumble in, especially scrupulosity. Many find their way into this channel. But I say, focus on what you can do. Don't sweat what you can't. But then, you see, in our home, we have a value that we look and we go, in our journey, we see our mental, emotional health right in there with groceries. Does that make sense? You see, like that's right in there with the grocery budget. It's like, okay, if I have to skip over a few convenient things so I can get help in a certain area, I'm going to do it. If there's a conference I'm going to go to that I go, you know what, I think I need this. I think it's going to be beneficial, and I'm going to do that. And Christians, we can get really locked into money stuff. Money is one of those awkward issues. It brings out a lot of the anger. Christians get mad at prosperity preachers. They get mad, but there is an underlying poverty mindset. It's like a limiting mindset that we just have to be aware of. Mm-hmm. That wants to creep in and say you can't afford that, so that means you can't do anything. And I want to encourage get access to free materials that are out there. Not just mine. Anyone who's speaking your language, book material. You can even get audiobook material to listen to. Why? Some people take my material and they're falling asleep to it at night, right? and whatever is helpful. But what I do want to encourage is get rid of the quick fix mentality. Take a journey. If you have a quick fix mentality, which perfectionists do, many Christians do, pray for me, help me.
Right.
I have to field through a lot of people that are they're crash landing into my website, maybe into the community, maybe into the email list, maybe into the YouTube feeds and the comment section. They crash land and they're just firing all their problems, right? And one of the biggest tasks that we have to continually do is bring down slow things down. It's like, I know you want to get this relationship OCD and you're trying to spin out because you have anxiety every day. Okay, we get it. You got to buckle in for the journey. And I'm just taking this tangent. It's not really based on what the person's saying here. It started with the 20 minutes thing, and now I'm going into some other avenues. But we have to give ourselves a seatbelt going, okay, we're going to drive for this journey. And really, it's not even a seatbelt. It's a walk. This is a walk that we're taking. And whatever battle you have, I have to help believers stop chasing the urgency. I need help. I need you do it to your pastors. Call me. I need your help. And your pastor's like trying to go to sleep or trying to have dinner, and they're like, oh, they're trying to help. And, and we're fielding, these emergency calls, emergency things going on. And what we need to do is go, okay, I've got some battles. I had to realize that. And I literally said that to myself. Okay, I got a whole bunch of stuff. I'm a hot mess, and I got a lot of things that are happening here. One step at a time. And this will take as long as it takes. Mm-hmm. And if I still have this battle or that battle and 20 years from now, okay, then so be it. But I am going to make things worse by fussing over myself. And so many people are trying to fix themselves, but they're avoiding looking at themselves with love. Because you look at yourself and you go, this is unacceptable. Your thoughts tell you, in this battle, I can't be loved. So I got to fix this battle to then be loved. Then God's going to be okay with me. And we're always avoiding unconditional love. And so kindness is going to be very, very important. And one of the ways you got to be kind is go stop trying to get yourself well by last week and take a deep breath, one step at a time. There is no magic counselor. There is no magic prayer minister. There is no magic pastor. In fact, what you need is actually in front of you. So looking, and instead of going what you don't have, now I'm totally, taking off from this question, going into a whole new area. Start with going, what do I have? What's in front of me? When God looked at Moses, he said, what's in your hand? And God's not asking you to take a step with something that isn't right in front of you that you can take a step with and work with that. And so, like Paul said, he said, I know how to be abased. I know how to abound. He's like, I know how to be broke, and I know how to have more than enough for everybody. He's like, I know how to live in the whole spectrum. But in all ways, I learned to be content, meaning that I can be grounded in, I have what I need for this moment. And so we began practicing this in our family, going, we're grateful for what we have versus focusing on what we don't have. And we're just going to connect to supply is here, resources are here. We have what we need for the next step. We have what we need for the next step. And many of you, you have what you need for just the next step. Don't worry about 20 steps from now, just the next step. That's a good word right there. So I was encouraged by it. But anyways,